Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, January 13th. Earlier, we did our mock draft Monday where we talked about, what if the Jaguars are able to land Ben Johnson and they go all in on this Detroit Lions style of thinking, true grit, ultimate offseason for the Jaguars. So you can go check that out. Right now, I want to take a look at my rankings for the head coach openings across the league, right? And the New England Patriots obviously hired Mike Vrabel. That was my number one ranked opening. I have basically two tiers of head coach openings, and I could really probably make it three tiers. And we're going to talk about that today. Talk about the tiers and the rankings. And the reason I'm doing this is because the Jaguars obviously are in need of a head coach. They fired Doug Peterson only a week ago. Feels like it's been months, doesn't it? But it was just 1 week ago today that the Jaguars decided they were going to hire Doug Peterson. And for the time being, keep Trent Baalke. There's still a lot of rumors and reports that Baalke could still be gone. And, we talked to Shad Khan last Monday, and he was asked point blank, like, if a new head coach that you want to hire wants a new GM in place or new power structure within the front office, whatever, would that be on the table? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So who knows how that's going to play out. I still am going to say Trent Baalke is the Jaguars GM until he's not. And that is, of course, the case. But my prevailing thought here is that the Jaguars have the best opening in the NFL right now, head coach opening. Like I said, I had New England at 1. Why did I have New England at 1? Drake May, I think, has the potential to be even better than Trevor Lawrence had. Like, I think he has a higher ceiling than Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's just got a little bit more of that innate playmaker in him right now than Trevor does. I think they're both in good situations, though, from a quarterback perspective. But Drake May is on the rookie deal for the next 4 years, if you want it, right? So that was, having a star quarterback on a rookie contract is obviously huge. The amount of cap space and draft capital they have, like, dwarfs what the Jaguars have cap space wise, which the Jaguars have a better roster than the Patriots, right? But, like, if you're a head coach wanting to come in and kind of put your stamp on things, you probably want to go sign and draft your own guys. You certainly have the ability to do that in Jacksonville. The Jaguars are going to have plenty of cap space. They're going to have a lot of draft capital, 5th overall pick, all that stuff, right? But New England just had a little bit more flexibility. And again, the quarterback on the rookie contract, which is why I had it at number 1. And quite frankly, they have an owner that's been around winning. Shad Khan hasn't really seen how it's done. And, Robert Kraft, obviously not a perfect owner in any stretch. Most NFL owners aren't, but I had the Patriots job at number 1. Now that has been filled, I look at the Jaguars, and I had them in the same tier with the Patriots and the Bears at the top. I think that one thing that really can separate the Jaguars and the Bears, put the Jaguars ahead of the Bears are in a division from hell, quite frankly. You have Detroit, you have Minnesota, and you have Green Bay. I don't know how you're expected to climb out of that hole. I mean, it is going to be very difficult to put together a roster, a coaching staff, and develop Caleb Williams into to a point where you are better than the Lions. You are better than the Packers. You are better than the Vikings. And the issue with becoming a head coach is there's expectations right away. There just are. Like, if you don't win in the first 2 to 3 years, most places you're out of there. And so you could say, well, we can really build something, and, in the future we can be ahead of teams like the Lions and Vikings. In the future, if you don't pass those teams up, you're not going to have a job, right? I do think that the Bears overall have a fairly attractive job. Like, Caleb Williams even though he didn't have a great rookie year, I still think is a fantastic young talent to have at the quarterback position. They've got all sorts of wide receiver talent. There's talent on defense. There's some talent on the offensive line. You want to improve some spots, of course, but they do have a lot of talent on that roster. They also have cap flexibility. They also have some draft capital. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad job in any stretch just looking internally. But when you factor in what you have to compete with within your own division, I mean, goodness gracious, you look at the AFC South. Texans had a hell of a game against the Chargers. Chargers probably overachieved this year. Texans are a good football team, but like to get to second place in your division doesn't look tough. You've owned the Colts. You're better than the Titans. You're in a better spot than the Titans. I think your roster's in a better spot than the Colts too overall. Colts did fire Gus Bradley, so whoever they hire at DC, that might make them more of a challenge for Trevor Lawrence and company. But the AFC South is infinitely more gettable, and you're just able to be more competitive in that division than you are in the NFC North. So that's why I have the Jags ahead of the Bears. You talk about the rest of the teams. The Cowboys have an owner who's lost his damn mind. I never know what the heck they're doing. The New Orleans Saints seemingly just are happy to try to compete for mediocrity every year with pushing the cap to its maximum ability, pushing money forward into the future, settling at quarterback, all these things, right? And Mickey Loomis doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. That's a team that just wants to stay the course, franchise that wants to stay the course. So I mean, I have them ahead of the Raiders and the Jets, but the Jets are in last for me. I wouldn't want to be there, right? I mean, there is some talent, some fun talent, really fun talent, good talent, but that Woody Johnson off his rocker, just flying off the cuff, doing some crazy shit this year. So yeah, I look at these teams, and then the Raiders. What's their plan at quarterback, right? Jets, what's their plan at quarterback? Saints, what's their plan at quarterback? The Cowboys, at least you do have a legitimate quarterback in place. You have CD, you've got, Micah, you got some dudes, but overcoming Jerry Jones is going to be tough. So to me, it's the Jags, the Bears, and then after that, it's like good luck. That's the good luck tier, quite frankly. So we'll see how it plays out there, but we'll get into kind of some specifics of why I really do value this Jaguars job, trying to be objective, but obviously, we are down here in Duval County. So we'll talk about it. But first, got to remind y'all to check out Underdog Fantasy. Signing up is easy. Making picks is straightforward. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Taking a look at the playoff game tonight, Vikings and Rams. Maybe you think there's going to be a little bit of a shootout. You make the call on which quarterback you think is going to exceed expectations over on their pick'em on Underdog Fantasy. Maybe you want to pick a running back to score. Underdog has vulture protection for your running backs. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code DuvalDaily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 90 plus Alabama, Nebraska, 90 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE and wire text Hope and Y 467-369. So to address the Trent Baalke thing, and I been battling a cold. I need some water. To address the Trent Baalke thing, as much as I am critical of Trent Baalke, I don't like a lot of things he's done. He has built a roster that is a playoff caliber roster, and I think with the draft capital the Jaguars have, the salary cap space, you get him paired up with a new coach, and I do think that they can have some early success. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in Trent Baalke as a long-term team builder, but again, I'm not a big believer in a lot of the guys that you're dealing with around these head coaching vacancies, right? But you have a quarterback and a wide receiver that would be the envy of a lot of teams around the league. Like that is a pairing that you can get fired up about. And what's so cool is now that the Jaguars showed themselves that you can just really force feed Brian Thomas Jr. the ball. He can get it short on the screens, intermediate on slants, and mesh, shallow crossers, get the ball to him deep as well. Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr.'s skill sets match up so well because Trevor Lawrence is like one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Brian Thomas Jr. is one of the best at getting open deep down the field and making plays on the ball. So I just think that is a fantastic pairing. And those are the two of the most important things you can have. You've got the pass protection in line to be solid for you. At tackle, Ezra Cleveland is a good guard. Mitch Moore's still there. Obviously, he's up there in age. Brandon Sherrick, you're probably replacing, whether it's in free agency or the draft this year. But you have talent. I think the backfield is talented. I think they need to be pushed. I think they need to prove it, though, like that they can really carry a team. Travis and Tank, they just have been too inconsistent in pass pro, holding on to the football, different things like that. But you look at the tight end position, Evan Ingram, Britton Strange, you love that. Defensively, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, Devon Hamilton, Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones. There's just a lot of good pieces, and you have, again, the cap space and the flexibility to go along with the talent you already do have to really push this thing into the future. You have the 5th overall pick and a ton of draft capital beyond that. You have 2 third-round picks. Sorry, guys. A coach-centric model moving forward. The new head coach will be the voice, the top decision maker and influencer. Even with Trent Baalke in place, they've made that very clear in their talking and in the back channels communicating with national media around the web. And you have an owner in Shad Khan who is willing to spend, but also willing to stay out of your way. You tell him, the franchise tells him what they need to win, and he's going to do it. Bottom line, from an infrastructure standpoint, Miller Electric, stadium, all that stuff. And then in free agency, he will spend to the maximum. And it's not just the fact that he'll let you spend to the cap. It's how he will let you spend to the cap. The signing bonus, as he writes, allows the Jaguars to better maneuver the cap than some teams can because some owners are not willing to spend as much on signing bonuses. And the signing bonuses, the way the cap is structured, it allows you to prorate those over the course of the contract and really help you out from a salary cap standpoint. So those are the reasons I believe in the Jaguars being the best job currently on the head coaching market. And that's why I believe the Jaguars are going to get one of their top 2 guys, whether it's Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen or otherwise. I think that one of their top 2 guys is going to land here. So we will see how it plays out. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.